start?
I started when I was 12, working at a beach stand in Bradley. And my father put me in charge a couple times there. And I would have to go home crying that they don't listen to me because I'm only a kid. And he would say, well, tell them you signed the paycheck, so they need to listen to you. So he made me a co-signer on the account, just in theory. And then my brother opened a French-Japanese restaurant in Avon when I was a teenager. And his reason for doing that, because he was from New York, was one, he wanted to bring some interesting food to the Jersey Shore. And in 1980, there really wasn't much here that was different. And it was French-Japanese, so we had a sushi bar. Probably the first sushi bar, definitely in New Jersey, that was owned by Americans. And, we were kooky for Avon, New Jersey. My brother's gay. It was his boyfriend at the time. And Ingrid, who's German, single mom. And then I became the fourth partner somewhere along the line there when my brother went back to New York to work on another project. And there was a holiday weekend, and the chef didn't show up, and I got thrown in the kitchen because we couldn't close. I think it was Labor Day, actually, and we had tons of reservations on the books, and my brother said, well, you can do it. And I said, I can't do it. I'm a waitress. He said, well, you know what the food looks like. And so, back then we didn't have cell phones, but we did have portable phones. And it was like this big, and I kept it on my shoulder, and the whole night he walked me through like when to turn the tuna to get the temperature to medium rare, and how to cook the proteins basically. The other stuff I could figure out. And my mom was very sick at the time, and that was part of the reason my brother chose to go into the foray of Asian food, because macrobiotics was becoming a kind of healing trend for cancer patients in particular, of which my mother was. And she had a 100% remission from doing macrobiotics with stage 4 cancer, given 3 months to live. She ended up living another year and a half until my father died, and then she kind of gave up everything. But what it taught me was how food was a powerful healer, not just in your medical intake, but in your mindset. And that mind-body way of healing yourself and living your life became really like a light bulb for me. So when I started cooking that night in the kitchen, it was probably the scariest evening of my entire life up to that point. I've had scarier kitchen moments since then, but that one was not only an eye-opener to what I could do, it made me feel really powerful because I accomplished it, and I got thrown into the literal fire and came out the other side like excited and passionate about food and creating. I never had my creative passion. My mother was an artist. My brothers were both artists to certain mediums, but for me, I was just a surfer girl from the beach. That was like the only thing I knew how to do. And I did everything okay. I was on the tennis team, played soccer, and I was always good, but I was never great at anything. And I was never that excited to be great at anything. So this was something I wanted to be great at. And I had a talent for it, and then it just grew from there. A couple years later, I opened my own place called Rosalie's Kitchen in Bayhead. I was driving down to Grog's, this famous surf shop in Seaside, and I saw this for rent sign on this little house that looked like a French chateau. And I walked down the driveway, and in the back were all these flowers and herbs and produce and this little tiny house. So I knocked on the door, and I said to the owner of the building, who was a real estate agent, I said, what is this place? And he said, it's a little restaurant. And this was like May. He said, the chef owner went off the radar, not coming back. Do you want to rent it? And I said, how much? And he said, I'll give it to you. I think it was, I want to say like $2,000 or $3,000 for the season. And I was like, okay. And I got home and I called every friend I had and said, I need help and I need $3,000. I just rented a restaurant. So a bunch of people came, we painted, we got it ready. A bunch of my friends worked there. We were just kids. I was 21 years old. I opened this restaurant on a whim and I became like one of the hot Jersey Shore chefs of the time. Young girl, lots of press. We didn't know what we were doing. We would close in the winter and travel, and during the day we'd surf, and we'd always have wine and parties afterwards. And then we ended up renting the front part of the space, and we called it the Love Lounge. And we opened a little vintage shop / private room that you could rent, and we would have parties in there as well. A couple friends of mine got married with us. Mike and Courtney from Betty's Icebox worked for me and met each other and got married there. So it was a really fun experience. Very different than the world I live in now as far as being a restaurant owner and operator. I miss those days, and I probably made as much money back then as I do now with a lot less headache. Now it's called Teeny's Fish House, named after my dog Martini, but it used to be called the Labrador Lounge. We gave it up for a few years because I just couldn't handle everything. It was too overwhelming being the executive chef of all this. But in COVID, the tenant didn't come back, so we took it back. But when Labrador Lounge started, I was also in a bar called Used to Be's in Maniloking. I ran the kitchen there, and we called it Cafe La Playa. And it was, again, a bunch of my friends and I cooking and partying and serving food and having fun. And there was a customer at the bar. I went to get a drink, and I overheard them talking about Asbury Park. And I grew up in Belmar. I went to Asbury Park High School, graduated from there. I also went to Ranney, so I had both worlds for my education. But I left Asbury on my final junior year. I graduated early. So I know the area. I grew up here. I used to skateboard and roller skate from Belmar to the Fast Lane to see shows when I was 16. Saw Joe Jackson in Convention Hall in the middle with a skateboard ramp. You know, like those days it was the wild, wild west here, but we spent a lot of time here. So when I heard these people talking about Asbury at the bar, I was like, oh, what do you do? And like, oh, well, we're developers in Asbury Park. Do you want to open a restaurant? We love your restaurant. And I was like, I don't really want to open a restaurant, but my husband and I just got back from Bali. Well, we weren't married at that time. We were just dating. So we went to Bali and we fell in love with the furniture there. We'd love to open a furniture store. Do you have a space for that? And he was like, yeah, but you need to be cooking. You need to be a chef. So I was like, whatever. He called me, he said, come up, I want you to see my projects. So we came up to Asbury Park, and at that time they were two brothers, Robert and Steve at Renaro. They had a development company called RDR, and they owned a lot of property, commercial and otherwise, on Cookman and around the city. Not the nicest people, not here anymore, which is a good thing for Asbury and me. But they put their money where their mouth is, and they said they would fund to open this restaurant market in the middle. So I did. They were not easy to work with. They were not nice people to me or anybody that came in contact with them. But in the meantime, Madison Marquette was working on the boardwalk and was a customer at Market in the Middle. And they kind of courted me to come up here as I was transitioning out of downtown. So that was Moonstruck, myself, the girls from Knockout opened Brick Wall. That was kind of like the new beginnings of downtown. And this is like going back 15 years ago. It was fun. It was a really great camaraderie of business owners downtown that were working hard to push this envelope forward in Asbury Park. And we did a lot of great things to make that happen. You know, people say that this person and this person brought Asbury back. It was a major community effort of small business. that started that. And, the big developers came in and took it to the next level, but it was the mom and pops, the people like me, that were doing all kinds of cool stuff in this community. And it was awesome. Well, one, I think my role shifts in the moment. Sometimes I'm the executive chef and I'm leading the new menu or collaborating with the team, and sometimes I'm the dishwasher and I'm helping get the pans so they can cook more food. I don't know anything about this business, is why I'm successful in this business. I didn't go to culinary school. I didn't ever work for anybody but my brother. So I don't know enough to tell people what to do on a hierarchy level. I had this conversation yesterday with somebody. Like, I don't ask that people call each other like chef here. Don't call me the boss or the chef. When somebody comes in and says chef, like 8 people turn around because we're all chefs, or don't call her the manager. Call her Bree. She's a human being. She does much more than manage people. I think leadership for me is a growth process, and it's all about communication. And when that communication breaks down, everything is affected by it. And, we have, like, on the outside, we look like we got it all together. We look like we have all this. But honestly, we're just individual people trying our best to make the world a better place, literally, through what we do. And my team is complicated because I expect a lot from them, not as workers. Like I always say to them, you're never going to get fired for screwing up. You're going to get fired for stealing or having really bad moral judgment and values that's repetitive, or doing something serious to hurt me or somebody else you work with. Like, those things to me are really important. If you screw up a fish or you make the wrong drink or you spill something on someone, that's a mistake. That's life, but your moral values and your integrity are what you really, really need to work on. So we do some leadership training here. We have a mastermind with some people in the company, not just higher ups, but it's open to anybody, but you have to put the time in. You have to read the books. You have to work on yourself and work on your relationship with each other and me, because no matter how much I can get into the pit with the team, they all still look at me as the boss. They all still want to please me and make me proud. Like a parent sometimes, and I'm like, why can't you tell jokes about me? Why can't you make fun of me? I want to be in the team. I want to be down there. I want to be made fun of, because to me that's building us as just a unit, and that's really hard when you're the boss, But I think we have a special group of people working here, and it's taken a really long time, especially in Asbury Park, to make that happen, because it is a bigger place. I won't attribute it to the community or the people who work here. I'll attribute it to the size of it. We call it the monster. It's 14,000 square feet. It's got 4 concepts in it. It's got one owner, me, and a bunch of people who are overworked and underpaid. But we love it, and we love each other, so we just keep doing it, or trying to anyway. And it'll be really sad if we don't make it through this. Yeah, I think my team has matured a lot over the 13 years we've been here, and gotten less territorial and more secure with, it doesn't matter if somebody new comes in, that's awesome, that it's helpful, it's not going to jeopardize their job or position. But that took time to get people to feel safe in that. And in our community here, especially being on the beach, it's extremely challenging to run a business in such a seasonal area, to ramp up and to slow down and to go through that flow of the ocean. Some days it's a hurricane and some days it's flat. And then all of a sudden, except for this year, normally in April, we're hiring 75, 100 people, because 50% of them are not going to make it. And for that month and a half, the customer's going through that growth process with us. And it's really not fair. We don't give the new hire training period discount, and the customer has to be okay with that ebb and flow of life here at the Jersey Shore. It's really hard, even in all this, I'm surprised when customers don't understand certain things that are going on for us. But they don't live in our world, so how could they, We normally do what we call Tumbleweed Tuesday. 20 years ago, Tumbleweed Tuesday meant that I rented a house in North Carolina and you could come at any point and stay as long as you wanted. We would rent like a 9-bedroom house or 2 houses for a week. And then we grew, and now we'd have to rent an army of houses to fit all the people. So now we've scaled it to 1 day. And the day starts with everybody coming in and cleaning. And it's like a fall, get rid of all the mess of summer, purging, and you would think it's like, oh, she's making us work, but it's fun. We get pizza or whatever, everybody comes, they can drink beer, whatever they want while they're cleaning, as long as they're safe, and we clean all the venues, and then I throw a big party. We've had it on the beach in Normandy, we've had it at the Headliner, we've had it at Bar Anticipation, we've had it at the Lanes when it was the old Lanes. This year we're trying to figure it out because of COVID. It's not as easy to do a big get-together. But the reason we started it is I call it August angst. No matter how busy you are, or how uncomplicated life seems, by the middle of August, everybody is pissed off in this business. Even this year, we were doing not even a quarter of the volume this year, but all the other stress triggers, like the last 2 weeks, everybody's fighting and everybody's sending nasty texts and getting pissed off at little things. So this tumbleweed was a way to say, hey, we still love each other. We can be mad at each other and still love each other, and then we all get together and have fun. I don't know what we're going to do this year. We're talking about Whitechapel. I don't know. It's a weird year for that world of having fun together in large groups. Well, it's a way of purging. We do one in the spring, too. We didn't do it this year, but Spring Awakening, where it's more of a team building. We do some TED Talk kind of masterminding with the large group, and then we do some sort of intention. We've done mala beads, we've done message in the bottle. We kind of set our goal for the year, because our year doesn't really go January to January. It goes like April 1st to April 1st. Ooh, sorry. Yeah. My seagulls. So there's 2 separate reasons for purging and cleaning your life. One is to open up, and one is to kind of hibernate. The fall one is to clean and go into the hibernation mode. And that's a very stressful time for people in this industry, because the money really takes a dive in the fall and everybody gets scared, and no matter how much you want to manage your finances based on how you make a living, the world wants you to manage them week by week, month by month. And in this industry, we manage 6 months, 6 months. So we're like little squirrels getting all our nuts in our... I think it's going to be a very interesting spring to see who makes it out of this. And as I've said to many people, it's not my total control to make that happen. There's so many moving parts with COVID, so many state and federal pieces that are affecting us. I don't know. This has been the most challenging 6 months of my life ever. I also have kids who are now virtually schooling. My husband is out of work. I'm going to get paid for the summer, but that's it. And generally, I take my income in the summer for the whole year, but this year I'm only taking my income for the summer, which is a quarter of what I make. and my income usually funnels back into the business to help it keep going. We got our PPP too early, so we were out of it by the first week of expansion. So we didn't get to use it to be in business. We used it to get ready for being in business. In Long Branch, we were able to get it a little later, which really helped us, but that location is really suffering with being in the unknown. We took over Whitechapel about a month before COVID, and our opening party was March 28th, so that never happened. So that's been really, really scary because it's an absolutely amazing, beautiful space that has so much potential. But will we have the energy and the funding to make it to another season here? You know, I mean, if our landlord doesn't let us close, if the federal government doesn't come to bat for everybody, if the state doesn't get their act together with us, all these factors are going to affect whether we make it or not. And that's not just me, that's a lot of people. I'm also the chair of the New Jersey Restaurant and Hospitality Association. So we have members that are all over the map of the kind of food and beverage they do. Like the venues that are doing primarily weddings are crushed. You know, it's really sad because, as I said earlier, we don't do this for the money, but we have to make money to keep it going. We have to pay our vendors and our employees, and everything we make affects all the people we are entangled with to do business. And up here, we make our money from May through September. And that's with events like See Here Now or the Stone Pony Summer Stage, or in the winter, we make it through because we have Beer Fest and we have Light of Day. Without all this stuff and with all the restrictions in place and people being scared of our industry because the press makes it seem like we are, you know, the sickness devil here, which we're not. You know, you look here, everybody is in their place. We're not having a rave out here on the patio. So I don't know if we're going to make it, honestly. It's going to be a really tough winter. We didn't put any money away. We still have aging from last year on the books. I don't know. If we don't get help, none of us are going to be able to do this unless we're heavily funded, which I am not. So let's pray we get some real conversation happening quickly. You know, they're not even talking about expanding on this CARES Act and the stimulus. You know, they go on vacation in August, and when is the government going to come back and sit down and figure it out after the election? Like, that's not fair, you know? Honestly, I've said this my whole career. Why do kids go back to school the week before Labor Day? Like, do they understand that that affects small business? That it affects the people who have kids that work in the industry? People stop going out during the week because they're in school mode. Like, it's beautiful in September here. And, you know, why do kids have to go to school right now, especially in all this? I think that we should extend endless summer till the end of summer, which is September 21st, not Labor Day. Well, we practice all the social distancing protocol outside and inside. We opted not to open a bar to the public. We only do a service bar because what I'm seeing in the industry is that is the big propagator of the problem. And I don't want to be a part of the problem. Whether I believe in this or not, I want my guests to feel safe. I want my employees to feel safe. I could jump on the bandwagon and make as much money and, you know, go rogue here, or I can have patience and hope I ride it through and people respect that. You know, the staff has all taken their Serve Safe training. The managers have all taken the management training. You know, restaurants in general are heightened sanitary places. We live in that. Obviously, when it's crazy busy, those levels fluctuate. So we're kind of controlling how much business we allow in to meet what we have to work with. We didn't open fully inside. We don't have enough staff to serve the guest and make them feel safe. We don't have enough staff to monitor all the bathrooms and to keep all the protocol in place. We just don't have it. And I think that's what people don't understand. Just because he said open up doesn't mean everybody can really do that safely. We put UV lighting filters in our HVAC. I don't know if that really works. They say it does right now, but we won't know until next year whether that proof is there. But I'm trying to do whatever I can. We have supplements for everybody if they want to take them that we supply to make you feel healthy. We give masks to everybody, customers as well. You know, we can only do as much as humanly possible with erratic information that we're given. Remember in March when they said in the summer this will go way down because of the heat? Nothing to do with it. Now they're saying it's going to go way up because of the flu. Who knows, you know? I've only gotten the flu once, and it was when I got a flu shot when I was pregnant. And I haven't had a flu shot before or since, and neither have my kids. And I don't want to be forced into some vaccine issue to have my savior here. We've been, knock on wood, doing the best we can to keep ourselves and our staff healthy. And if somebody gets sick, it's going to happen. If I get sick, it's going to happen. It's just life, and we just have to move through it. If people don't feel safe to go out, they shouldn't go out. They can't bring that fear to everybody. You know, I feel comfortable going out. I don't go out because I don't have time. If I had time, I would go out and support everybody. But that's me, and I'm okay with that. If you're not, just don't go out. Get takeout. Yes, right now it is, till we see what this is like. As far as music, you know, we're known for live music. That's been a big crippler for our finances and for the musicians that we have employed over the years. And that's breaks my heart. You know, we enjoy giving people the free live music. Now we're switching the protocol that you have to sit and dine and you have to spend money, because I can't take up a table and have a server not make money, have the house not make money to do music. You know, we've always allowed people to come. We've allowed people to hang on the boardwalk and not even spend money here and watch String Bean every Monday. But that's not where we're at right now. We have a lot of overhead. We have to protect the overhead here so that we can continue to do business here. And our employees need to make money to come to work. And especially if another package comes and people can stay home and make money. I don't want to lose staff because they don't want to come to work because they're not making money. So we're limiting the tables. They're all set and social distance. We only allow 12 people at the bar in groups of 4. That's as much as we're going to social distance. We took it upon to do an 8-foot social distance inside, even though it's 6 outside, because I just want people to feel safe. And I want the staff, I don't want to have, sometimes we have so much staff in here that you feel that energy of too many people. So we need to make sure we don't have an overabundance of staff so that customers don't feel like there's someone around them all the time. You know, it's going to be tough, and it's all new, like for everyone. So people have to understand that. You know, I worked at Teeny's last night. We had 2 inside reservations. We can only fit 2 tables inside because of the space. Both of them didn't show up. Like, how do you do that to people in this business right now? Like, you just have no clue? They probably made reservations at 3 places, and wherever they got the outside one, they went. And they didn't bother to call anybody. And, you know, I'm sorry, but if you only have 2 tables and you can't seat them all night because somebody doesn't show up, that's horrible. Yeah, I mean, we're hoping this one people will do the right thing, but there have been occasions, like New Year's, we always take a deposit because people will make reservations everywhere and then decide where they want to go. You know, I mean, I've always said every human being should work in a restaurant on a busy holiday weekend when at least 1 dishwasher, 1 busser, and 1 server don't show up. And then see how it feels to abuse a restaurant, you know.
Have the dishwasher go down.
Yeah, but they don't know. They never worked in the business. They have no idea what this is doing to us. And just getting, the protocol you need, the mask, the gloves, the wipes, the sanitizer. Like sometimes in the beginning, the prices just went crazy. Like a box of masks was like $60. Now they're $14. But we paid the difference on that all summer long, We go through cases of gloves a week. It's like crazy the added cost to this. Well, what we're doing is asking guests for 2 seatings, an early and a later with a 2-hour commitment on the table. So that gives people a chance to have a full experience, but also gives us a chance to turn that table over. Because for us to hold up a whole dining room for one group at a table the entire evening, we would have to charge a lot of money for that. And I don't want people to have to feel raped to come here to enjoy music. I just want us to work together in balance. Think about us and we'll think about you. Well, this New Jersey executive order says that you have to have a mask on at all times, outside too, until you're seated. Inside, you have to have a mask on until you receive food or beverage. So while you're sitting there, the order's being taken, mask on. When your food arrives or your drinks arrive, you can take it off. You get up and go to the bathroom or go say hi to someone, you must have a mask on. You have to be seated at a table. You can't go up to a bar, order food, and roam around. At the bar, you have to be seated at the bar. You can only be with 4 people max at the bar, and they have to be social distance from the next group of 4. At a table, it's a maximum of 8 people, unless you live together. So I don't know how you figure that out. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to get political here because I've already been crucified for that. I just hope the election brings a more balanced conversation in our country. And the anger and the name calling and blaming is what is ruining us as human beings. And I hope after November we can all, whoever wins and whatever election you're in, you can all be open to coming to the table and solving some of this hatred, because it's out of control and it's making a lot of people scared, depressed. It's causing huge mental and physical problems for people in the country. And that, to me, needs to be the paramount of how we move forward. I've been very transparent with my team that I absolutely don't know what's going to happen. I don't have a clue. I'm going to fight as long as everybody's fighting with me. If I'm the lone wolf out here fighting for this business and my team isn't doing what they need to help me do that, I can't do it. This is not the time for us to be individuals fighting for anything. We have to come together as a community, as a nation, as a restaurant. And if we don't make it, my team will be the first to know that it's happening. We're looking at lots of options. We're looking at bringing in a partner to help us. We're looking at anything but borrowing a bunch of money from anybody, because I still have over $250,000 on the books from Sandy recovery money that we borrowed from the SBA. I'm looking back at that situation and saying, why did I borrow $1 million to go back in business? Where was the government to help me after that? So I don't want to do that again, because back then, at least I felt like my government was supporting me. I don't necessarily feel that now on a local or federal level. Besides Vin Gopal, who has been an amazing champion for small business, we are kind of left out in the lark here. The New Jersey Restaurant Association has worked tirelessly. Our president, Mary Lou Halverson, has been at every hearing, on every conversation, every recovery committee, meeting with the governor's team, Zoom every week, whether anybody says that or not. We've supplied all these protocols that are coming have come through the Restaurant Association, and our knowledge of what we think will be safe for our guests and our employees, because our employees all work together. We've been together for 6 months, this team. Nobody new has come in here in a month and a half. So we're all acclimated. It's the guests that we're not acclimated to. So I don't want my employees getting sick because of a guest. That's where that comes from. It's not all of us working together. So it's like super challenging. Everyone's tired. We all need a little bit of a break from this, and we need some good news to come through and tell us all mommy and daddy are going to take care of us. That's how I feel with my government. Like, as my daughter says, I'm the kid, you're the parent, not my problem. When I look at myself in the government world, you're the parent, government. I'm the kid. Figure it out. Or help me figure it out. Let me come to the table. Let the industry come to the table and talk to you about how we can figure this out. Because the best ideas come from discourse. You put a bunch of people together at a table and people start throwing ideas that they don't agree with, that's when you start thinking on solutions, not when everybody in the room says the same thing. We need to be at the table. Well, I think one, you have to allow yourself to be sad and scared. It's okay. Like, don't feel like you're crazy or, not normal to feel that. It's okay. I have my moments when I cry and I wake up and I had a dream or whatever, or my kids drive me crazy and I don't know how I'm going to be there for them in all this. And that's okay, but you got to find your people. You got to find your people that are going to, like when I say to my husband, I really need a hug, he gives me a hug, like a real one, not a superficial one, not a social media one. Like a real, like, I'm here. This is going to suck, but it's going to suck for both of us, and we're going to do it together. And that's what I try to instill upon my team. We're here together. Like, if you have a problem, it's my problem, and my problems are your problems. I hate to tell you that, just because I'm the boss. We have to have our tribe. We have to feel supported. And find your group. I have this group, we call ourselves the Miracle Grow. We're a mastermind group of 7 women that's been doing this for years. Started by Bailey Fruman and Christine Zielinski from Salon Concrete, and Bailey's a life coach. And we got so powerful in our relationship with each other that we decided we didn't want to mastermind anymore. We just wanted to support each other. So every time any of us has a problem, we don't even call each other. We just have this text thread of support and hugs and heart emojis that say to each other that we're here for you, and no matter what you're going through, I got you. And I think you got to find those people that you can feel that with. Yep.